love spreading hazelnut shells. There's a freshness about it. Makes the garden look really attractive and brings out that color in the plant's foliage as well. Also really long lasting. But that just reminded me. Spreading hazelnuts reminded me of plants that are just known to be attractive. I want to take you to 5 plants today that I think are particularly lovely. Let's get started. First up, in no particular order, of course, is this beauty. Take a look. This is what we call a lupin, and it has these beautiful stalks of blooms, sometimes 2 or 3 on a plant, about knee-high to thigh-high as far as the bloom height is concerned. Comes in all kinds of colors too. A lupin. In the UK, it's called Lupin. In the UK? Yeah. I thought it would help. It's called what? It's called Lupin. Couple of amazing things about this plant. One is that it is a perennial that does come back every year. A tip and trick on this is you can cut the bloom when it finishes blooming and get it to rebloom. Secret thing about this too is really watch these leaves, these really cool leaves. They're like a finger of a leaf after it rains. They hold raindrops in such a way that you can see each individual one. Bumblebees love this one. And number 2, just for the prettiness, is this guy right here. This is a perfect time to look at all the different types of sages or salvias. Particularly, this is Salvia nemorosa, and it's a huge family. There's lots of different varieties. This particular one is called Salvatore Blue, and look how deep blue and a little bit of purple on the tips. So just a neat one. Now, the nice thing about these salvias, the Salvia nemorosa, is that they are extremely dependable and extremely tough. So if you want a perennial that comes back year after year very dependably, then definitely take a look at the Salvia nemorosas. And I love that name, by the way, Salvatore. In Italy, it's called the Salvatore. 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 Ciao. Anyways, the Salvia nemorosas also have a lot of different varieties and colors. Mostly it's in the range of blues, though there are some pinks as well. Take a look at this nice, bright, light blue. This one's called Marvel Sky. Pronounced just Marvel Sky. Marvel Sky. Marvel Sky. Marvel Sky. Marvel Sky. Here's a pinkish one. Take a look at this right here. This one is called 16 Candles. And this dark, stocky, dark one, this is called Swifty Violet. Isn't that a beauty? Number 3 plant not to miss for their beauty. And you're gonna say, oh, the Gabbera daisies. And these are definitely Gabbera daisies. Aren't they? Don't they just say sunshine? Don't they just say happiness? Lift your mood up nicely. Here's the secret, is that this is a completely different type of Gabbera daisy. This is a Gabbera garvinia. And why is that different? I call them garden Gabberas, meaning that these are very different than annual type Gabberas, and one is that they are perennial. Yes, perennial. They come back every year. Other thing that people don't know is that oftentimes they'll buy the annual types of Gabbera and they'll be a little bit finicky, meaning that if they don't get the water on time, when they need it, they'll just start drooping, and it's really difficult to get them rehydrated back. But these guys, so different in that they took the hot summer heat really well. They didn't stop blooming and produced more and more blooms. So I'm really impressed with these Gabbera garvinias. You buy them as a perennial, so don't look for them in the annual section that's just not color for the season. It is color for the entire spring and summer, but it does come back every year. Did I just say that like 10 different ways? I did. Butterflies also love these Gabberas. And just to contrast out all of that amazing color, I want to show this delicate beauty. Look at this one. Just a beautiful, wonderful green. This is adiantum. It is called a maidenhair fern. Why is that called maidenhair? Here's the little secret. You see these little black stems, the delicate black stems? That looks like hair from a maiden, perhaps? Adiantum, by the way, refers to unwetted. It's this amazing fern's ability to shed water. Technical term for this is adiatum pedatum. And pedatum refers to a bird's foot. So kind of looks like a bird's foot, or shape of a bird's foot. Look how delicate and amazing this looks like. And if you have a shade garden, definitely a must. Here's another neat thing about the ferns, especially if you love to take a moment and pay attention to the plants around you, is how these fronds unfurl. I love that about ferns, is that they come out like a yawning plant. Here I am. By the way, another little interesting tidbit about this fern is that it's called a maidenhair fern because of the fronds, but it's also called a walking fern. It's that family Adiantum. And why that is called a walking fern is that oftentimes when these tips of the branches touch the ground, it sprouts new ferns from that point. So it appears to be walking. Just a little interesting tidbit about these ferns. Gosh, isn't that just beautiful? And when I see this fern in the summertime, sitting in the cool shade, it feels like a plant you just want to hang with. Can I throw one more plant in? Take a look at this guy. I love these ones. Just a cluster of color in your garden. And it grows as this little grass-like clump. This is Armaria. It's Armaria Maritima. here's a trick with this one. And you can plant these in clusters through your garden, clusters of 3, and then another cluster of 3, and another cluster of 3. And you'll see it just drags your eye clear across. Gives a good sense of space in your garden. And you can also put these in containers, in year-round containers. And they're green year-round, and then they bloom in the spring throughout the summer. Here's the trick with these armarias, is that they put out this crop of blooms, right? When these blooms start to turn bad, is just give it a haircut. Snip, 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 and it'll start re-blooming again. So they'll do this as many times as you want to cut them back. Guys, that's the tips and tricks for this week. Always live your passion. Bring back the hazelnut bags. We can reuse them.